Hi, my name's Peter Jovanovich, and I'm running for City Council. I hope that I can bring to the City Council my experience, 32 years working with state and local government, my love of this city, and my belief that we can do an awful lot better than we're doing today. This is an opportunity to rethink government and rethink how we do things. I see our government mired in so many small problems while the major issues go unaddressed. I see a council that has voted a $6.2 million down payment on a $25 million police station. Well, our roads are in poor condition, and while issues like pedestrian safety are not addressed properly. I'm also running because of taxes. I saw our council, in the worst recession in 75 years, vote a 4.5% increase in taxes. Rye City School District recognized how serious this recession is and voted a 1.7% increase. Even the county, which is hardly a model of fiscal rectitude, only raised taxes by 3%. So I find it still extraordinary that this council could have voted for such an increase when people obviously are hurting so badly. Listen, I've heard the same things about school districts all over the country. Well, no, we can't do anything about this, and so on. We have the state mandates and one thing and another and so on. And then you find school districts around the country who have actually said, you know what, we are going to make a change. And it may be difficult, and it may be long, and it may be arduous, but it can be done. You first have to make up your mind you can do it. If you start out with the attitude, we can't do anything about it, Doug was mentioning Mayor Bloomberg. Look at two cities, Los Angeles, New York. Los Angeles has a school district half the size of New York and has never been able to find a way to work with its teachers union in order to have a productive relationship. You look at New York City and Mayor Bloomberg, after 8 years, he's really worked on it. And with Chancellor Klein, and yes, sometimes it's been difficult with the UFT, but they actually have made changes which a decade ago people said can't be done. So I would just first start with the attitude, which is reform is possible, and we're going to work at it. Because the naysayers, I mean, those of us who are from New York, I was born in New York, those of us from New York have been hearing for 50 years, nothing can be done about New York City public school contracts. And in 8 years, under a reform-minded mayor, things were accomplished. So I think we have an opportunity with a reform-minded mayor and Doug French for something to get done. Over 3 years ago, a report was produced for the council suggesting that we provide pedestrian crosswalk safety on Boston Post Road. The report lay there for 3 years, and as former city controller Mike Giannito said, it took a child being hit on Boston Post Road for the council to act. Traffic and safety has become its own cul-de-sac, frankly. I mean, discussion goes in and decisions don't come out. And I'm amazed how long it takes to get a decision made on something like a stop sign in this town. It's hard to believe that years could go by on one. So I think, frankly, I think that if there is a if our slate is elected, then I would like to see significant change in that commission within the city. I think we've got we need people with a different kind of vision running that part of the city, frankly. You know, Ryan parking reminds me, it's like Mark Twain's line about the weather. Everybody talks about it. Nobody ever does anything about it. I've lived in Rye for 17 years, and it seems as if this has been the longest dialogue or sentence I've ever encountered that finally can't get to a period. So I don't know which solution is the best as far as parking is concerned, but if elected, I will try to move heaven and earth by the time my term is up to have done something. Built another structure, leased space, that at least 4 years from now we won't be sitting around talking about, well, you know, what have you done about parking? So I actually think that we are going to have to build additional parking. And you know, where it should be done, and maybe it should be done with Metro North and one thing or another and so on and so forth. That takes a lot of time and study. But 17 years of discussing parking, at least in my memory, is a long time. So I think we ought to pick a plan, make up our minds, and then do something. This is a bit weird, but in my former life as CEO of Harker-Brace Jovanovich, I actually ran an amusement park. SeaWorld reported to me with about $1 billion in revenue. So I actually know an awful lot about parks and ride parks and the capital investment, and you don't hear all the details other than the fact that playland can never make money. The county's always going to lose money, and if I could have a whole 4-hour session on the economics of ride parks and so on, and I'll just sum it up. It can never make money. It'll always lose money. So the question will always be there at the county level, from one year to the next, what are we going to do? And I think that we need to work with our county legislator and come up with a plan. Essentially, I think what it should be turned into is more of a passive park. But if we wait to react, because this problem is never going to go away, there's just no way they can make any money. So I think what we ought to be doing is working with our county legislatures and our state legislators as a way to turn this into another kind of parkland. Well, I hope you'll support Doug French for mayor, and Susanna Keith for city councilwoman, and Richard Filippi and I for city councilman, on the proposition that we will redirect our investments towards roads, sidewalks, flood mitigation, and away from massive projects such as a $25 million police station. That will freeze taxes so that the burden to our taxpayers is not increasing, far exceeding our income or even inflation. And that finally we will act. And that when problems arise, we will examine them thoroughly, make a decision, and move on. Thank you very much.